Your words are reflections of your thoughts, and your thoughts are shaped by your focus. If you focus on what's wrong, what's missing, or what might go wrong, you cut yourself off from the flow of divine strength. But if you train your focus toward gratitude, purpose, vision, and divine alignment, your thoughts begin to shift, and as your thoughts shift, your energy elevates. Spiritual power flows where mental alignment exists. This does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It means thinking from a higher perspective. It means seeing challenges as training grounds, pain as temporary, and purpose as permanent. A disciplined mind doesn't avoid reality. It transforms it by refusing to dwell on limitation. You take control of the narrative playing in your head, because you know that the story you repeat becomes the life you live. The power of meditation, prayer, journaling, and mental rehearsal lies in their ability to condition your thought. These are not just habits of the spiritual, they are habits of the powerful. They prepare the mind to receive insight, process divine instruction, and stand firm under pressure. They teach the mind to serve the spirit rather than sabotage it. To walk in spiritual power is to walk with mental clarity. It is to align your thoughts with divine truth so consistently that your words carry weight, your actions carry intention, and your presence carries authority. It is a daily discipline, a sacred devotion to thinking in ways that agree with your highest self. When your mind is disciplined, your spirit can shine without obstruction. Your decisions become wise, your energy becomes magnetic, your path becomes clearer, and the power that was always within you begins to manifest in undeniable ways. Spiritual power is not for the lazy thinker. It is reserved for the disciplined mind that dares to think like heaven while walking on earth. Speak with the voice of the divine. Speak with the voice of the divine, and you will shift atmospheres, transform realities, and align your world with heaven's order. Your voice is not merely sound. It is a creative force. When you understand the divine power embedded in your words, you stop speaking casually and start speaking consciously. Every phrase you utter carries energy. Every declaration shapes substance, and every confession either builds or breaks the life you're destined to live. God created the world with words, not tools, not effort, but pure intention, vocalized. And because you are made in that same image, your words carry that same potential. To speak with the voice of the divine is to speak from a place of spiritual authority, not emotional reaction. It is to rise above the noise of doubt and fear, and let your words become instruments of truth, healing, direction, and faith. Your voice is not just for communication, it is for creation. The moment you realize that your tongue is a spiritual weapon, you begin to guard it. You stop speaking death over your dreams, your relationships, your finances, and your health. You stop repeating the words of the world and start echoing the promises of the Creator. You speak not what you feel, but what is true. You stop narrating your pain and start prophesying your purpose. To speak with the voice of the divine is to partner with power itself. This level of speech begins with alignment. You cannot speak like the divine if you do not first think like the divine. Your thoughts feed your language. If your mind is filled with scarcity, fear, and defeat, your words will reflect that energy. But if your mind is filled with vision, promise, and faith, your voice will echo heaven. A disciplined mind produces a powerful mouth, and a powerful mouth shapes a purposeful life. Speaking divinely is not about being religious, it's about being responsible. It is knowing that your words can heal or harm, build or break, release blessing or curse. So you choose your language like you would choose seeds for a harvest. You sow what you want to reap. You declare peace when conflict surrounds you. You speak abundance when lack tries to settle in. You bless others even when they don't deserve it, because your voice is no longer reactive, it is redemptive. This kind of speech changes relationships. When you speak with the voice of the divine, your words bring life to broken hearts, vision to confused minds, and hope to discouraged souls. You no longer gossip or complain. You lift, inspire, and ignite. Your voice becomes a vessel of transformation. People feel peace in your presence because of the vibration of your words. You don't just speak truth, you are truth in motion. There is a supernatural law that says what you consistently speak, you eventually see. So if you want a new reality, speak a new vocabulary. Speak what aligns with the highest version of yourself. Speak what aligns with your divine assignment. Speak what aligns with the outcome you desire, not the struggle you fear. Declare boldly. Affirm daily. Command atmospheres. Let your words break cycles and unlock destiny. And don't wait until you feel ready. The voice of the divine is not dependent on emotion. It is rooted in identity. When you speak from your divine identity, heaven backs your words. Authority is not in your volume, but in your alignment. Speak softly or loudly. It doesn't matter. What matters is the origin of your words. Are they born from fear or from faith? From ego or from spirit? From doubt or from destiny? You are not here to echo the chaos of the world. You are here to declare the order of heaven. You are not here to repeat what's wrong. You are here to speak what's right, until what's right becomes reality. Speak with vision. Speak with power. Speak with clarity. Speak with purpose. Speak with the voice of the divine and watch your world transform. True power lies not in controlling others, but in controlling yourself. He who has conquered his own weakness, his own laziness, his own fear, he is the strongest among men. External achievements are fleeting, but the internal strength built through discipline is unshakable. It cannot be taken from you. It becomes who you are. To cultivate self-discipline, you must start small and stay consistent. Set clear goals. Break them into daily habits and guard your routines fiercely. Eliminate distractions. Say no more often. Track your progress. Celebrate effort as much as outcome. Build the muscle one decision at a time. Discipline grows when exercised regularly, just like any muscle. In a world that worships instant gratification, the disciplines stand apart. They are not swayed by every temptation or trend. They know what they want, and they are willing to pay the price for it daily. That is why self-discipline is supreme power. It is the foundation of all greatness, the cornerstone of all achievement, and the master key to a life of meaning, success, and impact. When you master discipline, you no longer need to chase success. Success begins to follow you. Emotion is the lever of control. Guard it relentlessly. The world will attempt to pull you in 1,000 directions, not by logic, but by emotion. Those who can stir your feelings can steer your decisions, whether it's fear, anger, desire, or doubt. Emotion is the quickest path to influence. And yet, the person who masters their emotions becomes unshakable, untouchable, and ultimately unbreakable. Every advertisement, political speech, social media post, or manipulation tactic is designed to do one thing: trigger emotion. Why? Because emotion bypasses reason. It moves people to act without thinking. It causes impulse, decisions, clouded judgments, and emotional entanglements that pull you off purpose. But when you are in control of your emotions, those same triggers lose their power. You no longer respond with haste. You respond with wisdom. To guard your emotion is not to suppress it. It is to own it. It is to feel without being ruled. It is to recognize what you're feeling and choose your response, rather than being dragged by reaction. Emotional discipline is one of the rarest forms of power. It is what separates the easily manipulated from the deeply grounded. When the masses are panicking, the emotionally controlled individual remains calm. When others are offended, they stay objective. When others are distracted, they remain locked on their purpose. Emotions are powerful tools, not leaders. They are energy in motion, signals, not commands. Anger can alert you to injustice, but it should not dictate your speech. Fear can warn you of danger, but it should not stop your forward motion. Excitement can motivate you, but it must be paired with strategy. Your emotions must serve your purpose, not sabotage it. When emotion rules over logic, vision dies. But when emotion is submitted to principle, power is magnified. People lose jobs, relationships, deals, and reputations, not because of their skill, but because of emotional outbursts. Great minds have been wrecked by a moment of unchecked emotion. The enemy of your success doesn't always attack your strengths. It seeks to exploit your emotional weakness. That's why self-awareness is essential. You must know your triggers, you must recognize your patterns, and you must interrupt them before they cost you everything. Guarding your emotion requires proactive practice. It means choosing stillness over impulsiveness. It means giving yourself space to process before you respond. It means training your mind daily through reflection, gratitude, and purpose alignment. It means watching what you consume, because your environment often shapes your emotional climate. Negative inputs produce reactive emotion. Intentional inputs cultivate emotional control. Control of emotion is not about being cold, it is about being wise. It is not about bottling up, it is about channeling effectively. The emotionally intelligent person can empathize without being entangled, can be passionate without being reckless, and can express without losing composure. They are trusted, respected, and often followed, not because they are the loudest, but because they are the most stable. The moment someone else can trigger your emotional state, they hold a form of control over you. If your joy, peace, and confidence rise or fall based on external actions or words, you are living in reaction. But when your emotional thermostat is set by your own inner work, the world may shift, but you remain grounded. That is true emotional power. Guard your emotion relentlessly, not just for your own sake, but because your purpose demands it. Your vision needs a clear mind. Your goals require consistency. Your relationships flourish in emotional maturity. You are at your best, not when your emotions are absent, but when they are governed by wisdom. In this way, emotion becomes your ally, not your enemy. It becomes a lever for creation, not control. And in mastering this, you rise above manipulation and lead yourself and others with clarity and strength. Independent thinking is the rarest form of freedom. In a world where conformity is rewarded and originality is often questioned, the ability to think for oneself becomes an uncommon virtue. Most people do not think. They absorb opinions from television, trends from social media, and ideologies from institutions, never pausing to question if what they believe is truly their own. True freedom begins not with movement, but with the mind. And the man or woman who has mastered the ability to think independently is already liberated, regardless of external circumstances. Independent thinking means having the courage to question the prevailing narrative. It means stepping back and asking, does this make sense? Does this align with truth, with my values, with logic? It is not rebellion for the sake of rebellion. It is discernment in action. It requires mental effort and emotional strength, because to think independently is to risk being misunderstood. It often means standing alone, speaking differently, and being doubted by those who find safety in the herd. But no great thinker, no true innovator, no meaningful leader has ever emerged from the crowd by simply echoing it. Independent thought is forged in solitude. It is built through study, reflection, observation, and critical questioning. It rejects easy answers and refuses to settle for shallow explanation. The independent thinker knows that popular does not mean correct, that loud does not mean wise, and that consensus is not always truth. They look for evidence, they examine history, and they trust the quiet inner voice more than the roar of the masses. This self-reliance becomes their compass in a world constantly trying to confuse and control. Those who lack independent thought are easily manipulated. They are driven by emotional headlines, social pressure, and fear of rejection. Their opinions change with the wind. Their loyalty belongs not to truth, but to approval. They become pawns in the agendas of others, because their thoughts were never their own. But when you cultivate independent thinking, you become immune to mass manipulation. You can listen without blindly accepting. You can empathize without absorbing. You can respect others while still thinking differently. Freedom of speech means little if it is not paired with freedom of thought. If your opinions are inherited and not examined, then they are not truly yours. If you only believe what you were taught, then you have not yet begun to think. Independent thinking is not arrogance. It is responsibility. It is taking ownership of your mind. It is saying, I will not be spoon-fed beliefs. I will question, learn, and decide for myself. Independent thinkers are powerful because they are unpredictable. They are not governed by trends or tribes. They do not need permission to see things differently. This makes them leaders, not followers. Their ideas are original, their insights deep, and their influence long-lasting. While the world is reactive, they are reflective. While others are driven by noise, they operate from clarity, and because of this, they are often the ones who bring about meaningful change. To think independently, one must be willing to be uncomfortable. It means learning how to hold opposing ideas in tension. It means resisting the urge to fit in. It means asking questions that might not have easy answers. It is far easier to adopt a ready-made belief system than to craft your own through wisdom and experience. But only one path leads to true mental freedom. In the end, independent thinking is not just a skill. It is a form of power. It liberates you from mental slavery, shields you from manipulation, and elevates your life to a higher standard of truth. It allows you to live with integrity, speak with authenticity, and move with conviction. And in a world that desperately tries to shape your mind, choosing to think for yourself may be the most revolutionary act of all. Confidence built on inner work cannot be shaken. Confidence built on inner work cannot be shaken. It is not loud or boastful, nor is it dependent on applause or validation. It comes from the deepest layers of self-awareness, forged in the quiet moments when no one is watching. This kind of confidence is not about how others see you. It's about how you see yourself. It's earned through honesty, discipline, and repeated confrontation with your own fears and flaws. And once it's built, no external storm can break it. Most people chase confidence from the outside in. They try to buy it through appearances, status, or achievement. They surround themselves with compliments and approval, hoping it will mask the insecurity they feel when they're alone. But this borrowed confidence is fragile. One criticism shatters it. One failure exposes it. One rejection unravels it. Why? Because it was never real. It was armor, not identity. True confidence, the kind that can weather rejection, ridicule, and uncertainty, is built from the inside out. It begins with facing the truth of who you are and choosing to grow. It's built in the gym when no one is watching, in early mornings of prayer or meditation, in journal pages filled with questions and self-correction. It's developed in keeping promises to yourself, pushing through resistance, and refusing to quit when things get hard. It's not flashy, it's earned. Inner work means doing the uncomfortable tasks that most avoid. It means healing from past wounds instead of burying them. It means learning from failure instead of denying it. It means learning to sit with your own thoughts instead of drowning them in noise. Through this process, you become intimate with your own power. You learn what drives you. You learn what grounds you. And slowly, your sense of identity shifts from external validation to internal conviction. Confidence built on inner work is rooted in truth, not performance. It doesn't need to be the loudest voice in the room. It speaks softly, yet powerfully, because it knows its worth. It doesn't seek attention. It commands respect. And when storms come, it doesn't crumble, because it's not built on what you do. It's built on who you've become. This kind of confidence shows up in how you handle failure. It doesn't panic. It adjusts. It shows up in conversations where others are afraid to speak truth. You speak it anyway. It shows up when others doubt you. You move forward regardless, because you're not acting for approval. You're living from purpose. You're not trying to impress. You're trying to impact. And that difference changes everything. Confidence rooted in inner work also produces humility. Because you've done the hard work, you know how much there is still to grow. You don't need to fake perfection. because you've made peace with imperfection. You don't fear being wrong because your identity isn't tied to being right. You're confident in the journey, not just the image. That's a rare strength. In a world obsessed with image, it's easy to forget that real confidence isn't visible at first glance. It's not always charismatic or polished. It's quiet, grounded, and consistent. It shows up when the lights are off and the crowd is gone. It wakes you up early and carries you through hard days. And it whispers to you, even when doubt screams, you're still becoming. Keep going. So if you want unshakable confidence, stop seeking it outside. Go within. Do the hard work, the lonely work, the spiritual work, the emotional work. Build a relationship with yourself so deep that the opinions of others become background noise. That is how confidence is truly built, and once built that way, it cannot be broken.